Hello again, people. Today I'm gonna talk about something called intersection. And again, this is something I have figured out by reading some articles, but more or less done it by making mistakes. If you have really complex models like the one you can see here, this is composed of two models actually. Um, I want to separate the glove from the main body. Because it's actually two objects, but I want to make a clean cut so I can make a dowel, and so you can just attach it after you 3D print it. The problem is that if I do a combine with this, I don't get it to follow the curves of, like, I want it to follow the curves of the intersection between these two bodies. Now, there are a few ways to do this in Fusion, but not when you have these complex models. I've tried all of the ones I could find, and the only other way I found is that you mark the closest faces on each of the models, and then it will generate an intersection line in between them, and then you can get generated a line that you can then make a face of. But there is I did like a marking of this, and there's like 1,000 triangles just in that little part between those two models. If you want to know how it actually looks like, then I can just turn on let me see, I can turn on the visual edges only. Okay, give me a sec here. So that's basically how it looks like when you have all these triangles together. And you can see there are no triangles or actual, like here is an edge, but there's no edge here, but that's where I want the edge to be, like in the middle here. And then I want to make I want to make all these places here that are shown as their own edge, and that is not easy to do in Fusion when you have a complex model like this. Now I do find it easier to look at it and shade it like this, and I am going to change the glove to a different color. Let me see, appearance, just so you can see the intersections better. Paint, glossy. I'll just go for yellow, for instance. Slow there, and then I'll just put that on the glove. The reason it's slow is because it's a lot of triangles. Okay, so now you can see that and close that. Okay. Okay, that took longer than 3 minutes. That took maybe 10 minutes just to change the color because the object is so complex. Now you can easier see the actual places where I want the intersection to be. So you can see everywhere where the yellow meets the gray, I basically want to make a cut there. And I don't want the cut to take the shape of the other objects. I want it to be just a straight line if possible. Now, you can do that if you create a surface based on the edges. But to get to the edges, you need to use what we call an intersection cut. Now, you can try to generate that edge manually, but it's, as I said, a lot of faces and it's not easy. So the only option I actually found I could use is it's sort of a bit of a hack. It will involve using the modify combine, and then here you have something called intersect. And what this is, it will make a combine, and it will combine using the target body, which in this case will be this one, because that is the one I wanted to follow the curve from. If I wanted to follow the curve from the glove, I would actually get everything inside the glove. And I don't want that, because I want to have the basis intersect cut from this model on this side. So I would select this one as the target body, and then I would click here and I would select the glove as the tool body. And it's really important, select keep tools, because you need to work with the tool body afterwards. What will happen then is that you will get a new object, a new body, which starts where you can see the intersection cut, and it will basically contain the remaining part of the target body, and that will be the result of your intersection cut, and you will get a different body. Now, really important, you don't want to remove the original part, because you're gonna cut that properly later. So in this case I have hidden the gloves, but I also made a copy of the glove. So always, before you do the next step, make a copy of the object you will actually intersect cut. So I have that there, and here's the other version. This is the one I will cut. Okay, so I will do the selections. So I will select this, and when I now press the glove, this is going to take maybe 20 minutes. It's really important that before you select any objects, click the intersect. Otherwise it will try to do the first calculation using either join or cut, and it's going to take like a long time. So just do the combine button without having any models, and start by clicking the intersect, start by selecting keep tools, then go and select the target body, which in this case will be the one you wanted to follow. You can see that it shades here. Everything you see in the shaded area here in the middle will actually become the new body between those two, and this part of this glove will vanish. That's why you made the extra copy of the glove. And then when I now select this one, now you cannot see anything, but I have selected it. And if I try to click in the browser in Fusion again, you will see that it's working. This may take 20 minutes to half an hour before it can calculate where to put the intersection cuts. I'll just pause the video recording for now. Okay, so a bit mistelling from me here. Turns out the target body need to be the glove, since that is the object you are actually changing. And the tool body that you will use to make the actual cut is the main body in this case. And that took me about 20 minutes to wait to get updated to find out. So let's try that again. Okay, I'm back. That was roughly 40 minutes. Took a long time. You can see here that it has marked what will be the new object with the intersection in place. So I will not press OK here because I already have a cheat model. I will just let you pretend that I pressed OK, and I will try to get back the cheat model and show you the next steps. Okay, so canceling out that window took about 10 minutes. So it takes time when you're working with these big models, and even with my Intel 9 and 900 and 9900K, it still takes time at 5 gigahertz. If anyone wanna sponsor me with a new CPU and motherboard, let me know. Anyway, here you can see it is shading, showing the new model that was created. So if I remove this, what you will see here on the new model is literally the intercepting edge of where it actually meets the model. So if I turn it, let's see if I can manage. It's slow. There. So you can see exactly where the edge of that object goes. And I wanted to make a spline around that exact edge. So I'll do that by hiding the main body. And what we're left with is this. Now, I don't really like to work with these yellow colors. I'll just unassign the yellow color for now. Go to appearance on that object. And then I take... Actually, I wish Fusion had an ability to just unassign only and not delete, because if you take delete, unassign and delete, it removes from the object. But it also always removes it from the appearance of every other object as well, because it deletes that one. So it should just have an unassign button here. That would be nice. Hint, hint, Fusion development team. So unassign and delete. That in itself take a while, so I'll just pause the recording. Okay, so I remove the color. There's always a wait for that. Okay, canceling the window took 5 minutes. So the next step is to make a sketch, and you need to enable 3D space inside that sketch. Doesn't matter what kind of plane you set it to. It should we will not actually work on the plane itself, we will work in the 3D space itself. So you can just go in and you can find a plane like the origin here. Mark it, come on. No, you want to. Anyone. Let me see if I can just select this as the main body. Okay, there. Maybe that will help a little bit. And then I'll go and find that origin there, for instance. I'll just make a sketch there. Okay, now I just need to verify which one it is I'm working on. Yep, so this edge around here is the one I want to capture. Now, to be able to capture this specific edge at its own specific position, what you do is you go in the sketch menu, make sure you're there, and go to create. Then you go down to project, include, and do not select intersect. We don't want that. What we want is the include 3D geometry. When you select this, anything you click on will be projected to its own position. So you click this, and then you can zoom in, and you can hold your mouse over the edge like this, and you can click, and then you get a projected line exactly in that space. It takes time because I try to zoom. And I actually selected there, so it will try to put a line there. I'll be back. Okay, so what you then do is you go in here and you click on the next part of the section that intersections with this. Now, what you need to pay attention is that this line that shows in black here, does it go inside the previous point? If it does not, it can mean that you have, like here, you have 2 points which are really close together, but you cannot differentiate between them. And then you get the broken link. What you can do is, Windows has a built-in magnifier with some shortcuts. Let's see if I can bring this up. There. So these are the shortcut keys in the magnifier. Now it's kind of confusing the second you start it, because it will almost always start in full screen and it looks weird. So what you then press to just toggle to the correct view is Ctrl-Alt-M on your Windows keyboard. Then you should go to the one that gives you the lens. A floating magnifying glass magnifies the area around your mouse pointer. Okay. Now to increase or decrease the zoom, use the Windows key plus the plus to zoom in and out, or the minus to zoom in and out. Okay. So I am going to do that now because it's easier to see where you're working. So I'll go to my Windows and I'll just type magnifier, and then you will find a program called magnifier. And then I have pre-selected it to be over the mouse. And it looks a bit weird, but once you sort of get to it, you can see I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. So now you can see that I have the zoom just over that point where it is. So don't imagine you're looking at the real point. Just imagine you're looking at the screen but zoomed in a little bit. So I'll just do that. And what you're looking for is basically that the black line starts inside the purple circle. And then you just click on it. I'll just zoom out a little bit. And the result is that you get a line that is interconnected with the previous line. Okay, so here you see again, but here you see there are two, so I'll just zoom in as much as I can. Make sure that one is inside the previous one. And then I'll go here and I'll do the same with the next one. There. And if you want to turn off the magnifier and don't want to use it anymore, then you can just press the Windows key and the escape key, and you see it disappears and you're back to normal mode of working your model. Now sometimes you need to go and like readjust the angle so you get a good view of the lines you need to go and project. And if you suddenly doesn't show anymore here, you may have to go into the create menu and project include and click the include 3D geometry once more. So I am going to do that for all the parts now and pause the video so you don't have to watch me do this for about an hour. And then I'm going to go to the next step. As I move along the inserting the edges, I notice that if you have the line correct, it will show like this. But if you mistakenly, like let's say they were really close and you click the wrong one, then you will either see a red dot or you will see it like this. Even if it's close. If it's close, you will see a red dot very close to the original here. Like here, it's actually on top of the point, but here it goes inside the point. And if I only have it here, it will just be unconnected. And if it's red, it means that the point I'm at is not connected to the previous point. So basically you can deduct from that you're not clicking on the right point. Here's a typical point where You can see here that the points are really interacting with each other, and it's basically two points really close together. But if you zoom in, you will see that there is actually a line in between those 2 points. So I did mention earlier that sometimes you can you will be working just on the edges itself, and the best way then is to just use the select and then select priority edge. But in some cases you have big chunks of faces like this, which is easy to like select, and you can save some time then by selecting face priority instead. Make sure you go back to the create project, include, and include 3D geometry. Now you can see my last pop was here, and if I select this face itself, left click on that, now it will generate all the edges that belongs to that face, which is, of course, if you look here, it's exactly those. So instead of having to click on every single one here, I can just select the faces instead. Now these are big faces. I wouldn't do this if it's like tiny faces, because it takes so much time. And you can see it's also complete. So I will do that. And I will do the one on the side here. And I will do this because I'm in an area now where there is like big chunks of faces. And you have to be careful where you want, because you want to check that the angle is correct and that you're getting the correct faces. So I will check this one. So what I'm doing now, I'm actually projecting the lines of the edges of the faces themselves, and it basically creates close designs. And then here it's still good. So in areas where you can select multiple faces like this, you can save a lot of time instead of having to click one and one. And then I'll just go back here, and now I'm back into the edit mode. Now I don't have the drop thingy for the geometry, so I can just click away, and now I can delete everything I don't want. So I want to delete that one, delete this one, because I literally don't need these. I just need the outer edges. You may see that you have to delete them several times, because when it draws them, it will sometimes have several references to the points. Sometimes that happens when you project things. But the lines between the points themselves, they will remain. Now I got a bit of a break here. If you're working with faces, I do advise you to just leave them closed like that until you're done with all the inner ones, because then you can remove the model itself. When you remove the model, the sketch will behave much faster, so it's easier to clean up stuff. So as you can see now, I'm just leaving them in place, and then I will remove them by deleting the unnecessary lines otherwise. Like here, you will get double lines when the like here, it will double project the middle line here, so you will get two lines there. So you have to do a double delete afterwards, but it's a small price to pay to have to easily be able to just project the sides like you did. Okay, so it's been a few hours. Took me a while to complete that. As I told you, you can also select the faces, and then once you're done, you can just deselect the body, because it's the body that will generate time when you work with the sketch. And then you can just go into the sketch like this. And then you can just start with cleaning up all these non-necessary external lines. I think a good tips here is that if you use the lasso tool in the select, and then select to use the free form shape, then you can essentially just drag to multi-select all the things you have. Notice that the blue lines that will be removed are like emphasized and the rest is not. So when you press delete, it only removes that, but it also multi-selects all any additional lines that may be doubled over. So basically, after you clean up this selection you have made, projections in 3D space, what you're left with is basically, I'm going to bring up another model, basically the intersection of the two models that you want to make a clean cut from. So you can see this is where it will cut on this model, and then you have the other one. Remember, this is taken exactly from the intersection points where they meet each other. So the cut should, in theory, actually cut through the surfaces on both of them and make for a perfect intersection. So you see here is the other model, and basically what you have to do here next is to either use, probably for a cleaner surface, you can put a spline through all the points, maybe using an add-on, or you can just manually put the spline through everything. But it is late and I am going to end the video there, and hope you learned something from this small tutorial on how to manage to grab the intersection edge between two parts, in this case with an insane amount of triangles. So I hope you liked the video. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.